Welcome back, Patriots, to another episode of the Bald Brad Show. It is Tuesday, July 9th, and Joe Biden, good old Joey, the geriatric, the puppet, the child sniffer, the guy that hits a golf ball backwards, falls up a flight of stairs, looks for dead people in the crowd, converses with dead people that have been gone for 40 years. This dude fights with his teleprompter every single day and loses, falls off his bicycle standing stationary, trips over a sandbag at a graduation ceremony. Folks, this guy's destroying foreign policy. He's destroying domestic policy. He's destroying the country. And Democrats want another 4 years of the worst president we've ever seen in modern history, folks. I will go as far to say this dude is the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's great being back with you on this Tuesday morning, and boy, oh boy, was yesterday crazy. We were all in here for the live chat. We were all in here together looking at Karine Jean-Pierre taking on the press yesterday, and that was the big news, and we were here for it, folks, and we will be here for it again because there is another White House press briefing today at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which means Bald Brad is showing up, baby, for another chaotic press briefing. We will see what happens with it. Looks like we're having a little bit of camera difficulties. Not sure why, but I think it's settled itself out. We got everybody in the live chat. We got CC, Danielle. We got Secret Agent 355, which is an awesome freaking name. Neil. We got Marion. Danielle, I think I said. Pat. Brandy, always good to see Brandy. Jeff, always good to see you, good sir. Fellow accountant. Who do we got over at the YouTubes? Let's make our way over there and see. Oh, that was YouTube. Holy lordy. Look, it's morning for me, folks. You all know how it rolls here. We got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff happening at the present time. Try to mute that. We got Golden Girl. We got Pat. We got Deplorable Me. God, I love that name. That name's been going hard probably since 2016 when Hillary Clinton called us all deplorables. Everybody's making their way in. God, I love to see it. All right, well, let's jump in today's chaotic news. We got a lot of stuff for y'all, folks. So, Biden's former White House press briefing, Lady Roomy Girl, the circle back lady, Jen Psaki, admits the ABC interview was just okay. You know what? I would say it's actually a pretty good assessment. Now, she's on MSNBC, and she was the former White House press secretary, and I know a lot of you probably want her back at this point. And another pat on the back for us, we did call out the fact that Karine Jean-Pierre was going to be worse. So when there was a switcheroo, we said live that Karine Jean-Pierre was going to be worse than Jen Psaki. And, you know, I hate to say I told you so, but this seems to be what happened. So Psaki opened her show remarking on Democratic figures beginning to call on the president to step down following his disastrous debate against former President Trump back in June. Do you think she saw the signs? Do you think Jen Psaki saw the warning signs and that's why she got out really early going, he's not going to make it 4 years, fucking Trump champ. Everybody get off. We're going down. You know, she's like the person that didn't want to stay on the Titanic. She probably saw it early on, guys. And she goes, who's the most incompetent person we can have here that probably wouldn't have a clue and would probably ride this thing out and is a DEI hire? Oh, well, you know, Karine Jean-Pierre fits the bill. Let's throw her in the ring. So there you have it. That's probably not far off of what happened and is happening. So in the week following the debate, Biden sat down with the interview of George Stephanopoulos, which we went live and is actually a really well done episode. And Psaki noted it was probably not enough to turn the tide, and that's exactly what we said. I mean, we keep saying this because this is the news, and it kind of is sticking itself just right there on the board of they're supposed to be reassuring the American people that Joe is fine, and they're not doing it. They're not reassuring us by any means. If anything, they're just making things worse. So this is what she said. I would say it just went okay for the president. In many ways, people watching saw what they wanted to see, but for some, he looks better than he did at the debate, which is true. He did. He was more clear. He seemed much better prepared to make a case against Trump. there were also some moments, not just one, that did not go well. There can't be any moments. That's the issue. I mean, every spotlight is on Joe Biden right now to catch him if he's fumbling, to look for a gaffe, to see if he falls down, to see if he poops his diaper. Like, there's just, the dude can't make any mistakes. In the same way, neither really can Donald Trump. So it goes kind of hand in hand, but the bar is set lower, as we keep saying, for Joe Biden. So it's coming September, folks. I know we all want to see another debate, but pretty much Donald Trump is set up to lose almost no matter what. When the interview ended, it left us all in that sort of that purgatory for a moment. It was better than the debate, not a home run at all. Even if it was a home run, one interview definitely doesn't have the capacity to change the perception out there of 72% of voters. That is correct. Who do not believe that Biden has the mental or cognitive health to serve. Even the White House and campaign know that. We did a video yesterday, a small clip where one of the volunteer campaign workers didn't even know Joe Biden was going to show up at the site and said, quote, "Well, I hope he's awake." That's not what you want to hear from your campaign workers. That's not what you want to hear from your own party. Dude, you know that guy's out, right? You know he doesn't have a job anymore. Either that or that dude's going to continue picking up a lot of coffee and donuts for everybody. Holy Lordy, what a slip up. Well, you also have this, and this is astonishing. Somebody took all Biden's speaking errors and put it in data form for us. So this comes from the Daily Wire. Biden's speaking errors doubled in the last year of official transcript corrections. It's just the official transcripts. The amount of errors doubled. Can you imagine off official transcripts? How bad things are for this guy. The White House's official transcripts suggest that President Joe Biden's speaking errors have grown steadily worse. I mean, the news just keeps running this guy into the ground, with his rate of missteps doubling in just the last 12 months leading up to the disastrous debate performance in June. It's like the data points towards like some sort of Parkinson's disease or some sort of mental health decline. You know, the videotapes show it. The speaking engagements show it. Him just speaking off the cuff shows it. His face shows it. Him walking through to Marine One or Air Force One shows it. Him falling up the flight of stairs to get an Air Force One shows it. I mean, every angle you look at it shows that Joe Biden is not with us. So, check this out. White House staff tasked with preparing transcripts. God, can you imagine having that job now? You know, some dude, some low-level guy's probably like, "Give me the transcripts. It's going to be the easiest thing in the world. I just got to write down what the president says." Turns out it's the hardest job probably out there. What the fuck did he just say? Oh, God. So speeches and remarks cross out Biden's erroneous words or insert the word he should have said using brackets. Can you imagine trying to just figure out what the hell Joe was saying? Oh, God, that poor dude. That poor gal running that freaking typewriter keyboard, man, trying to figure out what the hell Joey's saying with the headphones going like this. What the fuck did he just say? Jim, did you get that? They got like a whole team on it. Shh. What's Joey saying? Mama shama trigger to my pressure? Did you guys get that? Trigger my pressure? It's just God, it's too good. The rate of errors per word spoken was one of the worst of his presidency. And he was whisked out of the public eye for much of June. God, this is so good. Yeah, you know, the rate doubled. We've never seen anything like it from a sitting president. And by the way, he wasn't even out there in the public for an entire month. But don't worry, you guys, he's a hustler. He's losing sleep for all of you. He's running the country. When you get knocked down, you get back up. More like you're staying down through all of June there, buddy. Looks like you've been on more vacations than any president in American history there, Joey. Speaking only half the number of words. Jesus. God, it gets worse. In official remarks that he normally does. So not only is he making more errors, the dude is speaking less. Let that one sink in. They're sitting there with their team. They're experts. They're all in the room. The board meeting's going, all right, things are going bad. What are we going to do? I got an answer, sir. How about we just let Joe not speak as much? Less speaking undoubtedly means less heirs for the president. Wow, Billy, that's a great take. Let's go ahead and do it. There's no way Joe could screw this up. Speaking less. More heirs. Joe does the unthinkable, you guys. Joe surprises even himself sometimes. So until, of course, his cognitive difficulties captured the world's attention. No, just Democrats and liberals. It already had our attention. We've been covering it for 3.5 years, but the media's been, covering for him. The Democrat Party's been covering for him. The Biden administration is Jill and his son Hunter. Everybody's been covering for Joe, not us. Nope, we've been here since day one. 3.5 years we've been on this, folks. In the animated graph below, look at this one. It's all animated. The red bars represent the rate of speaking errors. In the 12 months leading up to that, with the trend increasing steadily upwards as the graphic cycles through each month, it displays the modified language in official transcripts. It's a remarkable thing to see an upward trend. Look at that. Whoever put that together, God bless you. Oh. Don't worry, you guys, though. He's fine. And we'll get to yesterday's White House press briefing really quick. We'll watch one long clip of the chaos that we all watched together live. But he's there. And people are still going to vote for him, you guys. Please understand, 80 million will probably show up somehow. 83 million again. Where they come from, I don't know. Empty parking lots, empty freeways like we saw from Nevada. A bunch of illegals are going to vote for him. But don't worry, you're being told it's not happening, folks. None of it is real. So one of the people that are still going to vote for him, regardless if he craps his pants, is Whoopi Goldberg. And I mean that in all seriousness. She said it live. She said that she doesn't care if he poops his pants. She's still going to vote for the guy. So I believe we got the clip here for all of you. And it's, I guess we shouldn't be surprised that The View's talking like this. But here she is.
I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go. Now, he had a bad night the first time that he went out and debated with Kamala Harris. And everybody wanted him to quit then and say, you can't talk to women like this, or you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. He came back, said, you know what, I got it, and gave 4 years. So, yeah, I have poopy days all the time. I step in so much poo you can't even imagine. Now, I'm not running the world, but...
Is she admitting to crapping her pants? Ugh.
But I don't know anybody who doesn't step in stuff at some point. So I'm just simply saying, there are 2 debates. And if he can't do what he needs to do for the second debate, I'll join any crew that says get rid of him. But loyalty to me, if you are doing the job, I might not like everything you're doing. I don't like it all. But I'm going to stand behind you like those guys stand behind the guy who should have been the person people were talking about saying, yeah, Biden had a bad day, but this guy couldn't tell the truth if it split his lip.
Neither could you, Whoopi. I mean, we're talking about The View here. The View are known to be chronic liars and spin and manipulate their own audience, which is a remarkable thing. And I'll even give you an example. This was a while ago. I would say probably about a year ago. We were talking about crime because crime is increasing. Crime is running rampant in Democrat-ran cities. And because it was so bad, the Democrats didn't want to take the blame, right? They always got to pass the blame on to something else. And so what Whoopi Goldberg did was take the data or a data set out there and said, well, look at the crime rate in all these red states. It's predominantly red states that have the highest increase in crime. Now, is she lying? No, she's not. She's actually telling the truth there. But it's a manipulation of data. And that's what you can do with statistics, is manipulate people with it. You can actually mislead people based on the numbers. Because if you zoom in on that, it's the Democrat cities in those red states that is causing the red states to be so high in crime. And that's what she does. She's a liar. just in the same way Joe Biden's a liar, in the same way he said, I drove 18-wheelers, in the same way I ran the streets with Dr. King and was an activist for black people. You know, that guy. My son died in Iraq. None of those are true. I was a law professor and I taught the Second Amendment at UPenn. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So it's a remarkable thing of how The View plays into the ignorance of their audience. And it's a really sad thing to watch, the fact that they actually believe it. You know what I mean? And they just sit there, ramble, and spew a bunch of garbage. I would imagine the things that we say here on the show aren't too far off to what like a centrist Democrat used to believe. And I feel very comfortable saying that. If you look at Clinton, even if you look at Barack Obama during his campaign was for, figuring out the border security. I mean, he didn't do it, but at least if you look from JFK to Clinton's time, a lot of things we talk about here were predominantly what Democrats and Republicans talked about. Hey, we don't want to explode the budget. You know, that's my number one issue. Illegal immigration. We want to figure that out. You know, that can have disastrous consequences to our country. You can look back on history to other countries that have collapsed and have fallen because of it. So the things we talk about here, you would imagine a lot of people could just get behind, which is why I think we have majority of independents that actually watch this show than Republicans and conservatives. So I've been trying to mull that one around for a while, because when we did a poll and I found out a lot of you are independents and not exactly conservatives or Republicans, it kind of blew me away for a second. I go, I was thinking I was just doing a conservative show here, but then I really thought about it going, no, not really. We just kind of bring you the news and, you know, I'll give you my opinion here or there, but mostly I just recall previous stuff that either the White House said or some document said or some reporter said. That's really what we do here. And it seems like a lot of people are enjoying it and a lot of people are loving it. And if you are, hit that like button, baby. Hit the like button. Fake Republican Anna Navarro, can you believe it? She actually says that she's Republican. I told you they mislead their audience. Says she's livid at the media for reporting on Biden's mental decline. She's livid that the media is actually doing their job. The clip's kind of long, but I think it's important to see where the left is coming from and where these rhinos' heads are at.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm worried and I'm pissed. Frankly, I'm livid. Because for the last 8 days, it feels to me, I have seen nothing but breathless reporting. It almost feels like media malpractice of them trying to score the winning goal against Biden. Who can have the gotcha moment? They've been splicing, dicing, cubing everything he says, putting on a microscopic slide, and then looking at it under all sorts of magnifying glasses. Look. Joe Biden is the nominee. He is the human being standing between us and Donald Trump. I think Democrats need to stop making the case against Joe Biden and start making the case against Donald Trump. I think the media needs to give some parity to the coverage that they are doing.
You're
because in their zeal to fact check Joe Biden, they too are making mistakes. Yesterday, I saw the Washington Post reporting that Ted Lieu had asked in that conference call for Biden to step down. Except a few minutes later, Ted Lieu went on social media and said, I never opened my mouth. Yeah. Then there was the entire thing with Mark Warner. Look, I saw Joe Biden the day after the debate. I saw him that night at an LGBTQ gala. I hugged him so tight, I almost broke a rib. I thought the Secret Service was going to come. Girl, you got to go really deep to get my ribs.
Man, she's a hardcore Republican, guys. Where's that picture at? That's a hardcore Republican right there, folks.
Girl, you got to go really deep to get my ribs. He's got less body fat than I do. But I saw Joe Biden. So I'm not an anonymous source. I'm not somebody pretending to have spoken to him. No, I actually did speak to him. And he was just fine. He had a bad night. And until Joe Biden tells me he is out, I am riding with Biden-Harris. Okay. And the second part of that, I think, is very important.
So you're not a Republican then?
Because they are a team. And Kamala Harris has come out so strong this last week as part of that team. And part of the reason I have no qualms about supporting Joe Biden, zero, is because I know that if something happens to him, like every other vice president, she will step in, and she is prepared, she is experienced, she is decent, she is compassionate, she is smart. She is far from the caricature that Republicans have tried to build with her. So you know what? I am with Biden-Harris till the damn end. Yeah.
So you're not a Republican then, you're a Democrat. look, you can go from Republican to Democrat to Republican. I'd question like this a little bit, because then your whole viewpoint of the structure of government and your understanding of the functions of it have completely changed then. So you're not a Republican by any means, but you'll sit there and tell your audience you are. I represent the conservative and Republicans. No, you don't then. Not whatsoever. She's pledging her loyalty to the Bidens, you guys. And to Kamala Harris, oh, look at her wisdom. She had the balls to sit there. He had a bad night. Did we not call this, that this was going to be the shift of the media? I'm going to keep continuing the fact that we called it, because look, we're a small show here. We got a lot of great patriots that watch each and every day. We are growing, but we are on top of things. You're seeing the shift. Now that Joe Biden is not going to at least drop out from what we could see so far, he's like putting his foot down into his own grave, but he's not going to leave as of right now. They have no choice other than to get behind him. That's why you see AOC getting behind him. You see, I think, Cori Bush and, all these people, the Democrats are slowly starting to get behind him. Now, they have a closed door meeting right now as I'm talking with President Biden for his future and to see what the outlook of that's going to look like. And I think the outlook is, we talked to the guy. We fully believe it was just a bad night. We had a long form discussion with him. We've seen him in the interviews. We think he's up to the job. We think he has it. So we're going to get behind Joe Biden, regardless of whether they just spent the last 14 days just kicking the guy in his face, right in the teeth, about him not being cognitively there. That doesn't mean anything, you guys. Remember, this is the same media. This is the same Democrat Party that's lied to us since 2016. Well, it's lied to us longer than that, but at least to 2016, right? They came up with the Russia hoax, where they spent like $40+ million on Robert Mueller's investigation and came up empty-handed. They came up with a pee-pee hoax tape, which wasn't even real. They had Hillary Clinton bleach bitter server and break her cell phones and all these things. Barack Obama's whole administration giving $1 billion to the Iranians. Like, there's so much stuff that they've lied about. Hunter Biden laptop, they completely disregarded. They utilize their own intelligence community to lie to us. And then remember how Donald Trump sat there and goes, I don't trust the fucking CIA. Those guys are swampy as shit, let me tell you. Well, it kind of gives a little bit of credibility that there's some shady stuff going on in the FBI and the CIA and our intelligence apparatuses, because, I don't know, the fact that they signed on to the Hunter Biden laptop letter and a lot of them were intelligence community officials turned out to be real. Oh, it's Russian disinformation. It's Russian misinformation. They're meddling in our elections. No, they're not. Get out of here. Oh, God, they're going to still push this stuff. So you heard it, right? Kamala Harris she's the most wise. We can trust her. She's unbelievable. You wouldn't believe it if she had to take the office of the presidency. She would sit there and run the country great. Really, because she ran California into the ground. Like, pretty bad. And it wasn't even really her job to run the state. It was just, she was a part of it. So here she is, you guys. We're not going to play the whole thing. Here's over 6 minutes of nothing but compilations of Kamala Harris covering up for Joe Biden's cognitive decline. But don't worry, you guys. She's all-knowing. She's the one that should be running the country. She's the one that is going to step in if Joe Biden goes off into the spiritual realm.
Very bold and vibrant president in Joe Biden.
But a majority of Americans, a majority of Democrats, according to our new poll, say they don't want President Biden to run again. What do you say to them?
I mean, George, I think that age is more than a chronological fact, to be very frank with you. It's about thinking about whether we have in our leader, which we do in Joe Biden, somebody who is bold. I mean, think about it. And in Joe Biden, we have a president who is probably one of the boldest and strongest American presidents we have had in his response to the needs of the American people. But he is an extraordinary leader, and I wish that people could see what I see, because there's only one person who sits behind that resolute desk.
You're 58 now. If you win a second term, as you and the president are running to do, he would be 86 at the end of it. The Wall Street Journal had a poll showing 2/3 of Democrats say Joe Biden is too old to run again. Are you prepared to be commander-in-chief?
Yes, I am, if necessary. But Joe Biden is going to be fine. And let me tell you something. I work with Joe Biden every day. The work that under Joe Biden's leadership, our administration has accomplished is transformative.
There was some truth in that. Yeah, transforming into what Donald Trump built and collapsing everything and driving it right into the ground. It's probably the most truthful thing she said in quite some time. But it's so cringy. It's so cringy to have to watch that. There's no way in hell I would subject you guys to 6 minutes of that. We're actually sending that tape to terrorists that we're, trying to get information from so they can all listen to that. And, they're spilling really quick, you guys. I'm telling you, when they listen to Kamala Harris and her cackle, when they listen to her have to talk and her damn word salads, you wouldn't believe how quickly they fess up. You wouldn't believe how much information we're getting from these terrorists when we're sitting there. We don't need to waterboard them anymore. No, we're just playing tapes of Kamala Harris rambling, doing her word salad. And I have a theory behind that. So I was sitting there meditating on this going, if you look at old tapes of Kamala Harris when she was in California, she's answering questions clearly and concisely. And she doesn't pull this political BS of how they sit there and they kind of stonewall you and they'll keep rambling like they do in the White House press briefings, or whenever you're talking to a politician, you can't really get a clear answer from them. She was actually being clear in a lot of her old interviews of people that she was arresting, throwing in prison, all these things. I think she does this because she has to somehow look worse than Joe. And I think that's the objective here. I think she didn't used to do this whole word salad thing. This is a new thing, folks. I think she's doing it because she has to play off like she's worse than Joe, and she needs people to hate her so that Joe's poll ratings are better than hers. That's my conspiracy. I don't know if it's true. So it's not just her, but you had the media apparatus, again, coming out and saying, he's fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to get behind Joe. Well, CNN's Jake Tapper, the one from the debate, it says it's quite telling how the Biden campaign is an effort to show he hasn't missed a step, felt the need to feed questions to the host for a call-in radio interview. And I'm not going to let this one down because they said that he didn't have a script, allegedly.
The president did that. He called into a couple of black radio stations where he said, among other things, this.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the role of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
He's proud to be the first black woman? Not coherent. And even then, we later found out, from the radio host, that the Biden campaign had given her a list of questions to ask President Biden. That is a huge no-no in journalism, and the host was fired for it, but it remains quite telling that in the Biden campaign's efforts to show that the president has not missed a step, his campaign felt the need to feed questions to the hosts for a call-in radio interview. And the president still, even then, failed to deliver in many of his.
The remarkable thing is, I can actually watch that. You know what I mean? I can actually watch it. And the only reason I'm finding it cringy is the fact that this dude not only has been ripping on Donald Trump for being the greatest president in modern history, but also the fact that his outlet and himself have pushed the idea that Joe Biden was fit, that Joe Biden was okay. You are part of the problem for the last 3.5 years, and you're acting like this is shocking. Jake, he's vetted questions his entire campaign, dude. We have the pictures, we have the video of the actual sheet in front of him. This is not anything new. He's been doing this the entire time. Holy lordy, and they're acting like he's shocked. How could he sit there and give the questions beforehand? What? Yeah, we're not shocked. We're all sitting here going, yeah, dude, it's been going on 3.5 years. And they've known about it. They're playing this whole charade because they have to. If you're not part of our locals page, you got to head over there because I've been doing these opinion pieces and these articles. It's all part of it, you guys. It's all part of the narrative for them to act shocked. They got caught with their pants down. It's kind of like when you keep running out of cookies in the cookie jar and you can't figure out who in the family's doing it, but you got some really big speculations because some people, have chocolate around their face and their fingers and stuff, but you didn't actually see them in the act. And they're sitting there going, no, it's not me. Oh no, that was something else. Or that's just dirt. I've been eating dirt or some stupid thing, right? Well, you walk in and you actually catch them with their hand in the cookie jar and they're trying to pretend like that never happened. And so they're coming out shocked, like, oh my God, how my hand get in there? I got a better analogy. Y'all seen that show Cops? What you want? What you want? What you gonna do? You. Like, the guy's sitting there, right? He gets arrested. He's like, hey, spread your legs, motherfucker. And he spreads his legs, and you just see all this crack cocaine come out of his ass like he's Hunter Biden. How did that get there? That ain't mine. Those aren't mine. Sir, these aren't your jeans or your underwear or your own asshole. No, that's not mine. How'd that get there? I've never seen that in my life. Really? So this is the whole charade that people play. Really rough analogy, but I think you guys see where I'm going with this. Of the fact of, like, they were complicit in it. We all saw what was going on. You have to act shocked so that we can't blame you for the very thing that you were complicit in, but we're not going to let that sway us. In the same way, a cop's not going to let the crack cocaine fall out of a guy's ass right in front of his own eyes sway him on the fact that it's the guy's crack cocaine. Woo! I need to wet my whistle after that one. You guys are thinking, this dude's off the rails, but I'm loving it. But don't worry, you guys. Joe Biden, he has integrity. So you have this Democrat representative, you're going to see more of this over the next coming months, saying Biden, when he needs more sleep, that it actually builds the fact that he has more integrity. If the guy sleeps more and works less, it's more integrity, you guys. Here she is.
We know that when the president spoke to governors last week at the White House, he told them, Congresswoman, that he needs to sleep more and work less. If, Congresswoman, if a member of your staff said to you, you know what, Congresswoman Brown, I got to sleep more and work less, you'd fire them, wouldn't you? Or you'd start looking for their replacement, would you not?
Absolutely not. Listen, the fact that the president can admit his shortcomings, I think, is a blessing. I think it demonstrates his integrity. I think it demonstrates his authenticity. And I think it demonstrates how genuine he is when it comes to telling the truth.
We know that when the president spoke to...
It's unbelievable stuff. Karen writes in the chat, I joined Brad's channels on Locals yesterday, was unable to find Brad's channel today. All I got were Brad's articles. Do I go back to Rumble to watch Brad live? I had trouble finding him. Currently, we're not live on Rumble. We're not live on Locals. I have to figure out how to stream over there as well. And so give me a second to kind of learn that platform. But find me on Rumble for now. Locals, just for the time being, is going to be a place where I can upload articles, opinions, things like that. I like to write, and I think it's a little bit of fun. And it's a little bit different. So right now, Locals is going to be for articles, opinion pieces. I will try to go live and do some behind the scenes stuff and conversations over there once we build up that audience. So head over to Locals if you haven't already and check that out. Would love for you guys to join me over there. Also, we got a lot of members on YouTube. I want to start doing more things like a members only live stream in the future. So if you want to become a member, it's only 99 cents. If you want to go Super Saiyan, $4.99, $9.99. But if people are giving their hard-earned money, you gotta kind of reward and do something a little bit more for that audience that's giving their hard-earned money. So I would love to do like a whiskey and cigar night and just kind of sit down with you guys on the balcony and just have a conversation and get to know one another. Just hang out, not even necessarily talk about politics, talk about life, what you guys do for work, all that fun stuff. So that's kind of things we have planned for the future for members only. And if I go live for members only on YouTube, it would be live on Locals as well for those that contribute. So head over there. Okay, well, we got another Democrat here saying Biden's obvious cognitive decline is ageism and ableism, you guys. Here we go. Unbelievable. It's just, I can't believe it. On CNN, I guess I can.
More than 70% of voters think that President Biden is not demonstrating the capacity to be president. 56% of Democrats say that they would be better off with another nominee. Those are the concerns that I'm talking about that are showing up in the numbers and that are affecting his approval rating.
What I find interesting is that issue is more around ageism and ableism and not what this President Biden has done.
More than 70% of voters think that President Biden
it's ageism. It's ableism, you guys. You can't go after Joey for not being with us. And there was a huge piece yesterday in the Wall Street Journal on how Biden's inner circle worked to keep signs of aging under wraps. Now, we're not going to break this down, but the reason why I wanted to show it was the mere fact of No shit. We all knew this. And you know what? You see how they're doing this, you guys? Again, I keep saying this. We were in front of it this entire time, that they're going to shift the blame. It was one of the articles that we posted on Locals, the first article, of how they're shifting the blame on the Biden family. And Joe Biden's taking it right into the teeth. It was a bad night. It's nobody else's fault. Yada, yada, yada. No, it's the media's fault for lying. It's Biden's inner circle for lying. But the media, rather than saying that they were complicit in this big lie, the big cover-up, they're now passing the blame on the Joe Biden's family. And we said this exactly what the narrative is going to be. At no point is the media going to take blame for lying to the American people for 3.5 years. So senior White House advisors for more than a year have aggressively staged, managed President Biden's schedule, movements, and personal interactions as they sought to minimize signs of how age has taken a toll on the oldest president in U.S. history. The White House has limited Biden's daily itinerary and shielded him from impromptu exchanges, which we've all seen. This wasn't anything new. I mean, the fact that the press were asking for a press briefing for the last 3.5 years tells us everything we need to know. I mean, even they are getting fed up with this. I said they should have been fed up 3 years ago, the fact that he hadn't stood on the podium. I asked one of the White House correspondents personally, meaning I asked him physically, I said, why isn't the president standing on the podium and speaking with all of you? Now, this person said, well, it's unusual to have a president to do that, but it's not unusual because Donald Trump did it. I mean, we've seen presidents do it in the past, and when you have this type of guy that's off his freaking rocker, I think it's best that he does get up there and answer all your questions. So this is going back for a while. Brad is one-man content creating machine. Support the channel by hitting that like button. Greatly appreciate it. But you're helping him, secret agent. Yes, they are helping me, but it is a volunteer job. So greatly appreciate it. So I guess, I mean, I am a one. Don't take my thunder, Danielle. I am one man. Jeez Louise, you guys are taking my thunder. Okay, advisors have restricted news conferences and media appearances, twice declining Super Bowl halftime interviews. An easy way to reach millions of voters. Now, we don't want Joe to do that because he's going to slip up. Now you know why they didn't do it, right? Because the guy can't do it. He can't do it. And it's going to look bad in front of millions of people. We probably would have got the same performance that we did at the debate during the Super Bowl and probably saved ourselves a bunch of time here. And sought to make sure meetings with donors stuck to scripted pleasantries. Everything's scripted, from radio shows to, I mean, think about that. Radio shows are scripted. I was watching a podcast yesterday, a really famous one. Can't even think of the name of it. You've all seen it before. And they were wondering if Joe Biden's words were scripted during the radio show. And I was writing in the chat for them going, yes, it was scripted. And everybody in the chat going, no, it wasn't. It wasn't scripted. It was real. It is a conservative show. And I was trying to tell everybody, no, like literally Karine Jean-Pierre 45 minutes ago to an hour ago admitted to the fact that he was reading quotes off a card. Like that should tell you right there that they were feeding him some sort of answers. Some sort of script was being given. I mean, it is a script if you're reading. This is a script for me. If somebody said, Brad, is your show scripted? I'd say, well, I don't write anything out, but I read articles. So in a way, it is scripted. In some way, shape, or form, it is. Like, I don't have any paper down here or nothing, but you understand what I mean. Like, I'm reading basically a script. Senior aides dismissed travel suggestions over worries the president didn't have the stamina for them, including the idea that Biden to make weekly cross-country trips in 2022 to tout the benefits of his infrastructure law. All of this unfolded as Biden's slips become increasingly obvious, and his top advisors were assuring everyone that the president was fine. It's always been obvious. We've been just being called conspiracy theorists for the last 3.5 years. We were told, I mean, some of you wrote in the chat, cheap fakes. We were told this isn't real, that we were spreading misinformation, disinformation. They wanted to shut us down. I mean, we know YouTube's effing with us. To give you a comparison of how bad YouTube F's with our channel, the data doesn't lie, you guys. I keep saying this. Over at Rumble, we have 600 followers over at Rumble. We'll get 100 to 150 live stream viewers over at Rumble at any one time. I have 62,000 subscribers over at YouTube. We get the same amount of live stream viewers on YouTube that we do on Rumble. Rumble has 600 followers, okay? YouTube, 60,000. Same exact viewership. But don't worry, they're not suppressing us, you guys. They're not doing anything weird. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary. No. It's all in your head. And we were told so. I released the actual conversation with a YouTube specialist. Yeah, no, they're not doing anything. Well, Biden's physician was also a family business associate. I wanted to bring this back. So we covered this slightly yesterday, but I didn't feel like we did a little bit of justice on it. So President Joe Biden is leaning on the credibility of White House physician Kevin O'Connor's optimistic assessment. And it's also going to lead us into yesterday's White House press briefing of his health, because he did release a statement, and we will cover it here and we'll read it together. But the physician is a family, intimate, and one-time business associate of the president's brother, James Biden. Weird. You notice that everything's interconnected here? Hopefully we're seeing the fact that Comer is having a tough time figuring the spider web out of the money flowing everywhere. His doctor's connected to him. You know, this person's covering for him. I mean, the amount of people that Joe Biden has around him that's being paid off is really a remarkable thing, or allegedly paid off. So when Biden's brother Jim, I keep saying James, like is Jim short for James, was exploring a business venture aimed at securing veteran affairs contracts in 2017, O'Connor introduced him to a military-focused medical team and accompanied him to a meeting with a hospital president. You and your team clearly share our vision, O'Connor wrote to the hospital president following the business meeting. The family ties transcend business. In 2018 deposition, the president's sister-in-law, Sarah Biden, described O'Connor as a friend who frequently doled out medical advice to her family. When Joe had left the vice presidency the previous year, O'Connor, his government-assigned military doctor, emailed more than a dozen members of the Biden family saying, "You all have been a really important part of my life." On Monday, the New York Times reported that O'Connor had met with a specialist in Parkinson's disease who visited the White House 8 times in 8 months, fanning a new round of speculation about Biden's well-being. And this is what they were keeping under wraps yesterday. This is where shit hit the fan during yesterday's White House press briefing. This is where things went wrong yesterday, and it was mega news, and we were here live for it, folks, as a community on the Bald Brad Show. A lot of you are writing the live chat. I see you there, folks. I see you there. So Simon Atiba, who has been blacklisted, no pun intended, by the White House, released this yesterday. Breaking your reaction. President Biden's physician, Kevin O'Connor, just now released a statement saying that Biden is fit for presidential duties. He said President Biden is a healthy, vigorous 81-year-old male who is fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency. There are no medical conditions or findings that would prevent him from fulfilling his responsibilities. Now, that is a very, very crafty way of writing something. There are no medical conditions or findings, so those are connected, right? It's not an and or, well, it is an or statement, but he's separating findings that would prevent him from fulfilling his responsibilities. So it's not saying there aren't any medical conditions. He's saying there's no medical conditions that would stop the president from fulfilling his duties, meaning the dude just showing up. That's really what that says. So here's the actual article. Here's the thing that the doctor wrote. So he goes in and saying, I'll break it down, but I'll read the very last paragraph on the next page. He's basically saying, hey, we got authorization here from everybody to give this detail and this information out. The reason why he said that was because Karine Jean-Pierre was like, I can't say it. Sorry, I can't do it. I'm under wraps. I can't divulge somebody's personal information. You guys, the information was already out publicly. This whole charade of like, I couldn't say the person's name. The reporters are like, it's already there publicly. Like, I'm looking at it on my laptop as I'm talking to you. And that's where the whole toughie got in, because she's sitting there going, I can't release this guy's information. It's already fucking released. It's already out there. So that's why I said, to protect patient privacy for thousands of patients at the White House, nobody was asking for other patients' information. There wasn't even a question proposed yesterday asking for somebody else's patient information. They were just asking if this dude saw the president in his residency. That's all they wanted to know. She wouldn't answer it. So that was basically the whole front page. And then he goes on at the very end, kind of talking about, hey, yeah, we did meet with the president for his physical. And this is the whole team that meets with him, right? Physical therapy, neurology, sleep medicine, cardiology, all of the stuff, right? For a physical. Okay, now all that's standard. We know all that. This is the part we wanted to get to right here. So let's kind of bring that over. It says the results of the year's exam were detailed in my February 28th letter. Quote, an extremely detailed neurologic exam was again reassuring in that there were no findings that would be consistent with a, I don't even know, cerebellar or whatever the hell that is, or other central neurological disorder, such as a stroke, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, or ascending lateral cirrhosis, nor are there any signs of myelopathy. This exam did not support a finding of neuropathy in both feet. No motor weakness was detected. Does anybody believe that one? No motor weakness was detected. The dude falls upstairs. He can't get himself back up. He exhibits no tremor, either at rest or with activity. He demonstrates excellent fine motor dexterity. Okay, that completely contradicts the ton of video that we've seen. But a subtle difference in heat and cold sensation could be illicit as it was last year. The reason why I think he threw that in there was a report, and this is why I don't really believe what he's saying. There was a report that Joe Biden felt cold, his hands feel cold, he's like slurring his words when people are talking to him. So it's interesting that like the one time you see a patient, that automatically represents the entire year. That's how I think this is crazy, is that you see a guy for a specific moment in time, and you're going to allow that to represent, he's fine. He's fine. What if you met him when he was at his worst moment in time of the day? Would that change your entire physical? Would that change your entire analysis of what this guy's going through? I don't believe this one bit. I believe that he is telling the truth of when he saw the president at a specific moment in time, but in the totality of what we're seeing as Americans out there in the open, can you imagine how bad it is for Joe behind closed doors? So that's why they released it yesterday, was because Karine Jean-Pierre would not tell anybody. And so Joe Biden himself reached out to his doctor and said, hey, I'm okay with you releasing this information. And that's where we get to this, where White House denies Biden is being treated for Parkinson's in a heated briefing room exchange. And that's what we watched together all day yesterday. Remember how Karine was 40 minutes late to her own press briefing? It's 45 minutes, I think, actually. So we're going to go live at the time when the briefing's supposed to start. So we're going to go live today at 10 a.m. We're not done with the show yet, but we're going to go live again today at 10 a.m. So in about 2 hours for today's White House press briefing, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conversation circling around what Karine said yesterday, what happened yesterday. So I think the press is going to be a little bit more on their best behavior. And maybe Peter Doocy and Philip Wegman will get a question in. So here's the chaos that ensued yesterday that we all saw. It's a long clip, but we're going to play it out because I think it's worth it. Here we go.
Very basic direct question.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second.
Eight times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
That's what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here, please. So every year, around the president's physical examination, he sees a neurologist. That's 3 times, right? So I am telling you that he has seen a neurologist 3 times while he has been in this presidency. That's what I'm saying. I am telling you that he has seen them 3 times. That is what I'm sharing with you, right? So every time he has a physical, he has had to see a neurologist. So that is answering that question.
No, it's not.
No, it is. It is. You're asking me. I also said to you, Ed, I also said to you, for security reasons, we cannot share names. We cannot share names. We have to.
Others he would have met with. You can share names in regards to if someone came here in regards to the president.
We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to protect. I understand that. I hear you.
Right there for anyone to see.
Ed,
that was the crazy thing, is everybody's sitting there going, we have the name. It's like, it's public information. You're not hiding anything. It's out there in the open. It would be like, hey, I watched this guy's podcast. Cool. What's his name? I can't tell you. Sorry. He wants to keep his privacy. Can't tell you his name. Yeah, but it's live, right? You can watch it on Rumble, YouTube, X, all these places, right? Like, it's a podcast. It's out there, public information. Yeah, but I can't tell you his name. It's under wraps. We don't want to divulge privacy. It's like, but you could go watch him, right? I can go look up his information. Yeah, but I can't tell you. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Because they're covering up something, you guys. If you're willing to act like this, there's something bigger going on. We all know what it is. Obviously, they're hiding Joe Biden's. His head don't work, but
I hear you. I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy. I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them.
The doctor.
We have to keep their privacy.
It is public information.
I hear you. Guys, hold on a second. There's no reason to get back and go back and forth with me in this aggressive way.
Missed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
What do you missed about? What do you miss about?
Everything he just asked about.
What do you? And then every time I come back and I answer the question that you guys asked.
Correctly, you didn't have to come back and clean it up.
I never answered the question incorrectly. That is not true. I was asked
Yes,
about
you
a
did.
medical exam. I was asked about a physical. That was in the line of question that I answered. And I said, no, he did not have a medical exam. And I still stand by that. Matter of fact, the president still stands by that. He had a verbal check-in. That is something that the president has a couple.
this is why you guys will predominantly, even if I'm asked to go debate somebody, this is why I don't like debates, is because people, especially on the left, have such a nitpicky thing about language where we all know what was being asked of. Oh, well, you asked me, I thought you asked me about a medical exam. You weren't just asking about that. It's like, you know what the fuck we're talking about. So that's why I hate really kind of debates, is because everybody's sitting there fine tuning. Oh, well, you asked me about this specific word. This specific word means this specific thing. This specific word kind of means the same thing, but it's slightly different. Whereas I'm just open to have a conversation. But this is why you want to be choosy on who you have a conversation with, because you get this type of stuff, specifically from the Democrat Party and the left, that act like this shenanigans. And that's what I don't like. It's like, we all know what we're talking about. Majority of Americans are just average Joes, right? We're just normal people that can have a normal conversation. We don't need to split hairs and do this or that. But this is what you get from the administration. This is what you get from people on the Democrat side of the aisle a lot of times. And that's why it's tough to have a conversation with them.
A couple times a week.
Now in regards to Dr. Kevin Kennard.
And I am telling you right now that I am not sharing confirming names from here. It is the security reasons. I am not going to do that, Ed. It doesn't matter how hard you push me. It doesn't matter how angry you get with me. I'm not going to confirm a name. It doesn't matter if it's even in the log. I am not going to do that from here. That is not something I am going to do. What I can share with you is that the president has seen a neurologist for his physical 3 times. 3 times. And it is in the reporting that we share a comprehensive reporting. Matter of fact, it's more than what the last guy shared, and it is in line with what George W. Bush did. It's in line with what Obama did. And so it is comprehensive. It is out there. I just read a quote from it, but I am not going to devolve somebody's name or confirm someone. I'm not going to do that. That is as privacy for that person. I'm not going to do that. It doesn't matter how hard you push me. It doesn't matter how angry you get with me from here. I'm just not going to do that. It is inappropriate and it's not acceptable. So I'm not going to do it.
Not about the name.
Go ahead.
If you cannot confirm the name, can you confirm whether or not the president has seen this Parkinson's specialist? And you mentioned 3 times, but the visitor logs show a duration of 8 visits over 8 months. I think that is the crux of the question.
But I also said there are thousands of military personnel that come to the White House, and they are.
All right, I said I would play it, but I can't do it anymore. Just as much as you guys find her cringy, I find her cringy as well. She wouldn't answer the question. And again, that's why that prompted this letter to come out, yesterday. So we'll see, because that's going to come out again. I don't think this whole this doesn't answer the question, by the way. Like, it doesn't answer the question. So they think like, oh, look what we did. We answered your guys' question. Well, it's going to come back again. So another thing we talked about yesterday wasn't just Joe Biden's cognitive decline. It wasn't just the White House press briefing, but we also talked about the SAVE Act and how the Democrat Party full-heartedly opposes it. Now, if you're on locals, late last night, I did post an article about the SAVE Act and kind of talked about it a little bit. Well, Biden just came out late yesterday and formally opposed it. So if you're not up to date on what the SAVE Act is, we'll break it down for you in just 1 second. President Joe Biden formally rejected on Monday a bill in Congress that would require individuals, let this sink in, to show proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote in elections for federal office. Mind you, you guys, it's already illegal to vote if you're a non-citizen. Here's the thing. You could still do it, though. all this does is basically allows the federal government and potentially even localities to actually execute and act on it. And Democrats aren't for it. Did we not call this and say they're going to try to do some shit again, you guys? What they did in 2020, because nobody looked under the hood. Even Republicans didn't do shit about it. They're going to do it over again. There's a reason why Joe Biden turned the other cheek to all this illegal immigration that's taking place. These people are going to vote. They're also taking your money, which we'll get to in just one moment as well. So a policy statement from the Biden administration said it strongly opposes the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. Oh, I'm sure. Yep. We're not surprised that he would do that. And it was introduced by Chip Roy, who we like here, early this year, and is expected to get a vote in the Republican House as early as this week, but did not mention the prospect of a veto. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. It is a federal crime punishable by prison and fines. The alleged justification for the bill is based on easily disproven falsehoods. As I mentioned in the article, then, if it's disproven, right? If illegals aren't voting, if you don't have to show proof and all these things, like, if all this stuff's taken, then why not just allow it to happen? Just put the bill forward. No harm, no foul, right? It doesn't hurt anybody. If it's not hurting anybody, then go forward with it. Here's the problem. It is hurting people. Turn the Democrat Party in their votes. That's why they need it. They need to do this. Look, if somebody's voting illegally for the Republican Party, I'm still okay with this. That's fine. Cancel out their vote. They shouldn't be voting. They don't want to play fair, folks. They don't want to play fair. Additionally, making a false claim of citizenship or unlawfully voting in an election is punishable by removal from the United States and permanent bar to admission. Joe Biden's not deporting anybody. He just came out yesterday and said he's deporting more people than Donald Trump. It's a lie. It's a complete sham. It's BS. I'll see if I can pull that up in real time for you guys after this. Remind me to pull up that thing so we can bring you the receipts. The statement added, states already have effective safeguards in place to verify voters' eligibility and maintain the accuracy of voter rolls. Then why is Nevada, why is Michigan, and Pennsylvania all being sued right now by Republicans for not cleaning up their voter registration rolls? Why was it in the 2020 election people were voting for properties that don't exist? Why is it people are voting on behalf of somebody else? Why was there ballot harvesting taking place? Why were all these things taking place if there's all this accuracy, you guys? Really remarkable stuff. This bill would do nothing to safeguard our elections, but it would make it much harder for all eligible Americans to register to vote and increase the risk that eligible voters are purged from the voter rolls. Why? Because you have to show proof that you're an American citizen. You have to have an ID. Mind you, illegals have IDs too. I mean, I think there should be more vetting in all this stuff, but, you know, while some municipalities and few states in Washington, D.C. allow non-citizens to vote in local elections, Republicans have argued the SAVE Act, which also could push states to remove non-citizen voter rolls for federal office at any time upon receipt of documentation or verified information that a registrant is not a U.S. citizen is needed to combat the ongoing border crisis and shore up election integrity. We all know why they don't support this, folks. There's no reason. What they came out and said was, well, it creates a burden on people. One thing they also said in the past, which is just, it completely blows my mind, is they say, well, black people can't get IDs. Isn't that a slap to black people? People have done interviews on the streets and asked black people if they have IDs, and they'll go, yeah, like, why wouldn't I have an ID? And then they share the information that the Democrat Party saying they're not capable of going to get an ID or they don't have one, that it puts a burden on them. It's so disrespectful to black people. It's disrespectful to people in general that you're going to sit there and say they're not even capable of doing that, that life is so hard they can't. You can go to a library. You can do it from your phone. You can do a lot of this from your phone. It's not a burden, you guys. It's a silly excuse. It's an excuse that's ridiculous. The technology we have and the advancements that we have, you know, it's a slap to people in their face. You're basically saying their IQ level is so low that they're not capable of actually going to get an ID. It's disrespectful to anybody you say that to. But, you know, Democrat Party's known to be racist. I mean, they are the party of the Klan. They are the party of slavery. It's never left them. It's embedded literally in their roots. But that's what's going on with that. Furthermore, I said I'd also keep you up to date on all these illegal immigrants, raping and murdering Americans. Here we go with another one. Illegal immigrant convicted after raping child, assaulting ICE officer. Lovely. So this is from Newsweek. And this is what Joe Biden's allowing to happen. This is what Democrats want to vote for another 4 years of, you guys. Yep, Democrats are going to show out in the millions to vote for these people. A man from Honduras who raped a 13-year-old girl he met online in Virginia and then assaulted an immigration officer, attempted to arrest him, has been sentenced to prison. Federal prosecutors announced on Monday. So this guy's getting 3 meals a day. He's getting recreational time, I'm sure. and you are paying hard-earned money to keep this guy locked up. So Ramos, 23, was sentenced to 5 years for receiving child sex abuse material and assaulted a federal officer. ICE Enforcement and Removal Operations Unit said that Ramos raped his victim after she refused advances, before pressuring her to send him nude photos. So there you have it, folks. More issues going on with that Joe Biden's allowing to happen, and he's saying none of it is happening. And speaking of all this stuff, New York City has now has data to prove it crushes poorest, meaning migrant crisis is crushing the poorest. So you remember how the Democrat Party is always like, we're for the little guy, we're for the poor, we're building from the middle out. You know, that's Karine Jean-Pierre's messaging with the economy. We're building from the middle out. Yet again, hard data to prove that progressive madness is smashing New York's most vulnerable. 3 of the 5 New York City zip codes with the city's highest concentration of migrant shelters are among its poorest areas. Zip codes covering places like Queens, East New York, Brooklyn, with median incomes below $37,300. I want to let this sink in because, as I mentioned, that's the median income. There is a difference between average and median. I don't want to break it down, the statistics between it. But we'll say $37,000, right? Does anybody recall, in terms of benefits and money, how much an illegal immigrant's getting paid in Chicago? Did anybody recall that number in the live chat? We use it every week. Benefits as well as money. How much is the illegal immigrants in Chicago making? $84,000 a year. That is correct. 84 G's, man. While you have Americans' median income at $37,000. Mind you, we did a report yesterday where illegal immigrants are taking your Social Security as well. But don't worry, guys. You're still going to get 70% of that because it's going to go insolvent. But don't worry. You still get 70%. The other 30 was just stolen. It was given to other people. Gone. Don't worry about it. You look the other way. At least you're still getting that 70%, though, you guys. There, yeah, I see people putting 84K in the chat. I see you. Are getting slammed as migrant inflows climbed to more than 200,000 since the start of the crisis. The migrant arrivals bring not only an increased drain on city resources and services, almost $5 billion through May 31st. This is just for New York, $5 billion. Remember when Donald Trump in 2016 was asking for a $3 billion border wall, and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, their dumbasses in the Oval Office, were fighting the guy on it? They go, we can't afford it. But yet they're spending $5 billion in just one city right here. But yet they're sending $60 billion in Ukraine like every other month. Weird. $10 billion's going to Iran that's supporting, they're the leading sponsor of terrorism. They're giving $40 to $87 million every week to the Taliban. All this money's just being thrown out. Democrats love spending your money. Quite frankly, so do Republicans. But at least Republicans want to spend money on a border wall. They also drastically lower the quality of life. Take Long Island City in Queens, for example. Home to now 12% of the 193 shelters housing the 65,000 plus illegal immigrants in the city. Shelters clustered around 2 public housing projects. Residents are afraid to take their kids to local parks because migrants reportedly use them as electric scooter racetracks and public sex dens. Question, though, who are you voting for? That's all I want. That's the only question I care about. Who are you voting for? If you are voting for Mayor Eric Adams, I don't want to hear your shit. If you're voting Democrat, don't want to hear your shit. You got what was coming to you. We said it would happen. We've been saying it would happen for years, if not decades. You didn't want to listen to us in the same way you don't want to listen to us to half the shit we say because we're just conspiracy theorists. We just make it up. We just throw cheap fakes. We make deep fakes. Don't listen to us, even though we were sitting there for years telling them all this would happen. Donald Trump said all this would happen. Donald Trump said, hey, they're going to take your jobs. They're doing your jobs. But it's not real. Hey, they're going to sit there and tap into your Social Security. It's not real. But they are. Yeah, it's just astonishing how all these things we said would happen, and they didn't believe us, and now that they're happening, they're complaining about it. I mean, that is a typical theme, is it not, from this party, the Democrat Party? It is a typical theme. In the 114th precinct, which covers LIC major crime, is up 12.3% through the first half of the year. But again, the question is, who do you vote for? That's all I want to hear predominantly from reporters when they go and ask these people that are complaining on the streets. I can't believe it. Look what they're doing. They kicked my kid out of school because there's not enough space. Who'd you vote for? Just one simple question. Don't even do a long form interview. Who'd you vote for? So the other thing I want to tap into is the fact this one's about to piss you guys off. The next few articles, I just want to, can we prepare you? Because I saw Pat write in the chat yesterday about how the Marco Rubio one and the spending of our money pissed him off. So I'll preface this beforehand. These next two articles, you're going to lose your shit. Because it has to do with your money. Marco Rubio, right here, reveals U.S. taxpayer funding Chinese military experiments will introduce bill to fight it. Oh, lovely. So Florida Governor Senator Marco Rubio, who again also covered the fact that illegal immigrants were getting your Social Security. So you get $800, $900, $1,000 a month. Illegal immigrants are getting $1,500. Lovely. Who serves as the vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee and a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, disclosed on Sunday that American taxpayers are funding thousands of Chinese experiments with direct applications to the Chinese military. But we're not corrupt as a country. Nope. Nothing to see here. Writing in the national interest, Rubio, one of the Republicans at the forefront of confronting communist China, along with Arkansas's Governor Senator Tom Cotton, mentioned a report that the U.S. Department of Defense has given $30 million of your dollars and mine in artificial intelligence research grants to a Chinese scientist at the Beijing Institute of Technology. Rubio pointed out that Beijing Institute of Technology works to create next-generation weapons for the communist Chinese army. Breathe, Brad, breathe. It's going to be okay. But then Rubio submitted new evidence. The Naval Criminal Investigative Service, NCIS, not the show, great show, by the way, found that U.S. taxpayers funded the aforementioned experiments. Their findings noted that more than 5,000 instances of research collaboration between the DoD's funding agencies and Chinese entities between 2019 and 2024. I'm looking at the chat because I know you guys just spit out your coffee and you're pissed. Just don't throw the bald Brad mug, okay? It's precious. It's precious. It pisses me off too, Lily. I'm right there with you. Pat, I'm there with you. Gary, I see all you in the live chat. Yeah, I see you guys all over at YouTube and Rumble. Deplorable, Willie, I see all of you. Okay? Sunset, I see you, even though your name throws me off now. Golden Girl. I'm telling you guys, this is wild stuff, man. Look, it's not just I want to be clear. I hound the Democrats a lot. It's not just a Democrat. This is the government problem, you guys. This is a Republican and Democrat problem. And they're not willing to do it. There's politicians on both sides of the aisle that approve this shit. And this is why our budget, this is where our spending throws me off and it pisses me off, because we all work hard. You know what I mean? Everybody works hard. Of course, some people have to work harder than others. Some people are smarter than others. I mean, that's just life in general. Regardless, all of our money is being sent to our enemies, our foreign adversaries, terrorists, people that want to harm our friends and our family. And I'm fed up, man. I'm fed up and I'm keeping it together right now. You guys know how I can lose my shit? Because look, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican to me when it comes to this type of stuff. Because at the end of the day, we're all Americans and all Americans are having to pay for this stuff. And we vote for it. We vote for it. So I'll keep you up to date on more of that spending. Just ridiculous. The other thing I want to show you guys, this is the one. This is the banger. So be prepared to be kicked in your teeth. Everybody ready? It's that big. I'm setting you up because you're about to lose it right now. Check this out. Hundreds of thousands of Ukraine refugees claiming American Social Security benefits. Our viewers asked us to verify. We can verify it's true. President Biden has made it legal for Ukrainian immigrants to get Social Security checks. DHS estimates 537,000 Ukrainian refugees have entered America. Our sources are the Social Security Administration, the Office of Refugee Resettlement, the Uniting of Ukraine Program, and immigration lawyer Charles Cook. The Office of Refugee Resettlement confirms humanitarian parolees may also be eligible for assistance through exiting programs. They're getting Social Security, healthcare, food stamps, and more, all paid for by U.S. taxpayers, and draining out Social Security. But don't worry, you guys. Don't worry. There's no corruption going on. There's nothing happening here. No weird shit. No foozery. $35 trillion in debt. No big deal. No big deal. So I promised you guys I'd pull up the receipt. Let's see if I can find the guy's name. Bill Mulligan. Mulligan. What's the guy's name? Mulligan. Let me see. I got to find it in real time while you guys are losing your ish over there. Fox reporter Bill. There you go. It is. There we go. I need him on X. I want to find the receipts for you guys. You know it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're probably going to believe what I say. It doesn't really matter. Let's see if I can find it here. I thought I sent it to myself. Here it is. Okay, so we were talking about Joe Biden claiming, "Oh, I'm deporting more people than Joe Biden or than Donald Trump." So Bill says no, he's not, and it's not even close. So fiscal year 18 to 20 was 709,227 deportations. So that was under Trump. Here's the deportations under Biden was only 273,000. That's straight from ICE. Mind you, you have a way more exponential function under Joe Biden than you did under Donald Trump. So not only is he deporting less people, but he's allowing more people to come in. So it's not even a close call. Like you would see if you were to line the graphs together, right? If you were to make an adjustment at the same par of people coming in, which is tough to do, but you could do it. He's still allowing less people to be removed from the country than he's allowing the influx in it. I mean, it's a really remarkable thing, but there you have it. And there's the receipt right there. Biden, it's clearly a lie, right? But Biden is now deporting more people than Trump. Had to finish my coffee on that one, folks, because it's going to piss me off. But that's the media for you. And that's why we do it here on the show, folks. We sit there and we call out the hypocrisy. We bring you the receipts. We don't blow smoke up our viewers. You know what? You know I love you guys. We care about you here on the Bald Brad Show. And by we, I mean the community here. And you guys said it right. We have Agent 355 helping us out. But at the end of the day, it's everybody here taking part in growing the channel and making it a bigger and better thing. And we are growing here, folks. We finally got sponsors. We finally got all sorts of things taking place that, help the show grow. And it's with your help that we're able to do it. And, quite frankly, one of the things we're doing is we're doing it with Rumble's help. Rumble is helping us greatly. And with that, we got an ad here for Rumble. And so make sure you guys go out and download the Rumble app if you haven't already. I actually have it on my phone and I use it quite often, especially watch Dan Bongino and other podcasts. So once you download it, search for my channel, Bald Brad, and follow the channel directly on the app. It's really, really easy. You can watch it from your phone. You can watch it from your TV. So this will make sure that you get a notification everywhere we go live. And what I have found is a lot of you have said on YouTube that it's really unresponsive. YouTube's unresponsive. You're not getting notifications. One thing I could see from here is Rumble is very good at notifying you exactly when I go live. You're going to get an email notification. So click the link in the description or pin the live chat to download the Rumble app on your phone. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay a dime for it. If you prefer to watch us on the big screen, which I know some of you do, I can see the analytics. It's also available for Apple TV, Android TV, Fire, Roku, LG, Samsung TVs, and all you need to do is search for Rumble, folks. Go check that out. They are a free speech platform. They take care of us over there. They got even Dylan, who we love. Dylan, I don't know if you're watching in the live chat. Dylan's always taking care of us. Greatly appreciate that, man, over at Rumble. He's done a great service and shown nothing but kindness and care to all of us. Mind you guys, again, I only had at the time of meeting him 300 followers. I've never spoken to anybody face to face and has helped me through a lot of things over at YouTube. Rumble, met with them multiple times over Zoom. Couldn't be more than happy to be working over here at Rumble with them, and hopefully we can grow our audience over there. So we'll be back here live in an hour and a half for the White House press briefing, folks. Be prepared to kind of sit around for a bit, but who knows? Maybe she'll be on time. Maybe she'll be on time. We will see, folks. But we will be back here again in an hour and a half, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be live for the White House press briefing. It was chaotic yesterday. It was a hell of a stream. Come hang out with us. Would love to see you, all your American Patriots, once again in about an hour and a half, folks. And I will see you later here on the Bald Brad Show.